We did sit down with Jeff Amon, the head of industries and telco for Salesforce at MWC. Had a great convo. If you didn't check it out, go check it out on our 6.5. But 6.5 was, sorry, 6.5. Salesforce was busy making a bunch of announcements this week. And one of the big one is, let's go back a bit. This is a company in a massive transition. We talked about their earnings recently. We talked about sort of growth had really slowed in core business, but where growth hadn't slowed is in its data cloud and in its Agentforce. You're talking thousands of people that are companies that are signing up to use this. You're talking about high growth rates, close to around triple digit growth rates of their data cloud. It might even be higher. I actually don't have it memorized, but it's really high growth rates. And this is all about that data alignment to be able to deliver on agentic. And so this is a company that realizes it's going to need to pivot. It realizes that the future is going to be generative abstractions. It's going to be coordination of agents and orchestration. It's not going to be static, rigid, difficult to use SaaS software. But like every business, it needs to make its transition. And we've done a lot of work on this. We did a big study looking into the economic impacts that could be saved through agentic AI. And we've identified that it could be like in the range of $6 trillion in the next 12 months or so. And this is because companies can put a lot of what I call the middle, Pat, like the middle of the org, things that are kind of heavy, slow, gelatinous parts of an organization that don't necessarily have critical value. And I know that's always really hard to say about human capital, but in many ways, we've got kind of a lot of, I heard this a little bit about people moving bits of data around an organization, like how many people take a little bit and move it to another person and move it to another person. This kind of role is what an agent will be perfect at. So, Salesforce basically with 2dx, they've got these proactive AI agents. That's what 2dx enables. They're working autonomously on business processes. So meaning you need something done, this agent can do it. There's a lot of kind of like, how good is it that's still running through people's head? Like you and I kind of had that whole, like, it ain't going to replace salespeople. I mean, that's for sure. And actually Salesforce has admitted that by hiring 2,000 salespeople to sell agents. But I do think when it's like, needing to, a lot of things we do, Pat, we process a video and then we want to create a tweet about it. Like, could that be done largely autonomously? Yeah, I think it could. Or you get a new sale, could that invoice and that follow-up interaction, can those things be autonomously programmed? Absolutely. They're also really focused on kind of this DIY versus Salesforce, meaning could you do it yourself or using Salesforce? And they're continuing to really focus on giving both low-code and pro-code optionality to people so that, developers can build more complex agents, but also companies don't need to have a big developer group to get this done. The App Exchange is the marketplace. This is, marketplaces are always going to be super important. Not all agents are going to be built on Salesforce. Salesforce has a big partner ecosystem. Wanting to plug in agents that can orchestrate across the org is going to be something of focus. And, there's just some other stuff around developers and ecosystem. But, I think right now, Pat, my feeling is we are getting closer and closer to this agentic moment. It's not going to happen all in 2025, but companies are really meaningfully looking at where this can drive efficiencies into the business. We see it, multi-trillion dollars. And I think Salesforce has been really aggressive to make this pivot. And I think they have to be.
Yeah, so not only did they bring out information at TDX, also Morgan Stanley conference, they kind of gave even a deeper dive. I think maybe stuff that would be even more interesting for you and I. So for instance, they talked about 5,000 deals in Q4, 50% resolution rates in pilot sectors, cost savings of $7 to $9 per interaction, which I thought was pretty interesting. And there's this thing called universal credit pricing, which replaces the conversation models that I thought was interesting. It's called 2dx, but maybe it should be called Agentforce 2.5, right? And in this world of compressed acceleration and everybody trying to one-up each other, here here we go. I did find it interesting that at the same time Mark Benioff was putting out tweets about this, Microsoft Satya Nadella talked about how it was using its agents. He, personally every day he he's using it as a CRM, and he's not using Salesforce or even Dynamics 365. So this spat between DIY and leaving the driving to Mark Benioff moves forward. So from a targeting perspective, right? Target audiences here were enterprises, developers, and admins, and partners. Right, for enterprise, it's all about automating workflows across customer service, HR, and supply chain. For developer and admins, really, it's leveraging their ecosystem. And then partners is obviously making money via this new agent exchange. And last comment I'll make, and I really like the Salesforce product discipline, product management of here's the problem, right? What problem are they trying to solve, right? Labor shortages, operational efficiency, integration complexity between low code and lots of code with some of these pre-built integrations. So all in all, not a step function forward, I think, which is why it's not Agentforce 3.0, but 2dx, but definitely a step forward, and should give Microsoft, ServiceNow, Oracle, Adept, and UiPath something to think about.